We may not know their names, but we certainly respect the laws of physics. Push an object, it'll move. Drop something, it'll fall. They're part of our everyday life. But what about if we take a step outside of our comfort zone, or rather, a dive? Different laws apply underwater, but as dive master Jeff Eidenberger explains, the biggest rule to follow is simple.
We breathe continuously. We never hold our breath.
Like most rules, this one is for your safety, as divers must respect the relationship between pressure and volume, as explained by Boyle's law, which states that the pressure of a gas increases, volume must also decrease, and vice versa. An important distinction needs to be highlighted here. This is for gases, not liquids. Let's see this in action.
Where we had two balloons, one was filled with liquid, the other was filled with air. We took those down, and you can see that the one filled with air begins to collapse, whereas the one filled with liquid, non-compressible, it maintains the same volume as you go down in the water column.
Cool stuff, right? Even better when you consider that most of our bodies are water, so they don't feel the effects of a pressure change. But as you may have experienced firsthand with pain in your ears underwater or on a plane, there's still pockets of air in our bodies, ears, sinuses, and our lungs. It's those areas that divers have to consider by equalizing their ears on the way down and remembering not to hold their breath.
Because if we were to hold our breath and ascend in the water column, thereby reducing the pressure, the volume in our lungs would expand, and it could cause physiological damage to our lungs.
This is a real danger, as just 33 feet underwater, the pressure is doubled compared to the surface. That's bad news if a diver held their breath that deep, as the air inside their lungs would expand, doubling in volume as they reach the surface, as you can see in this experiment where Jeff takes an air-filled balloon on the lake floor to the surface. Imagine that as a lung that could potentially collapse. Thankfully, breathing through a respirator underwater becomes second nature quite easily, and therefore this risk is minimal as long as someone follows the skills taught in their scuba certification courses. There you'll learn that Boyle's law affects more than just your lungs and ears. Boyle's law is just the start of the physics considered while scuba diving, which we'll cover a lot more in future Moment of Science segments. If you can't wait, take a scuba diving class with Jeff at Carolina Dive Locker or any other dive shop, as they'll help explain them and help get you to a world underneath the waves. For this week's Moment of Science, I'm Storm Team 2 meteorologist David Dixon.